is really picking up here. Some cold air is starting to come in.
Hello, my friend. It is nice to be with you today. Welcome to my voice. The following audio creation is a recorded channeled reading for Bill Mitnick. The information is coming from a collective group called The Ones. They, in turn, transfer the information to the channel, Peg Robbins of South Deerfield, Massachusetts. Peg has been channeling for over 40 years and claims that this relationship to The Ones was established in a pre-birth agreement. If you are listening to this, you are a person who knows that this lifetime is a small part of a much longer journey. The Ones have access to many realms of consciousness and history because they can access 9 dimensions of our time matrix, while most of us on this planet can only access about 3.8 dimensions. Peg takes the One's information and passes it on through herself to us. That is why she is called a channel. When Bill met Peg Robbins, he felt that he had known her from somewhere. Toward the end of this session, that question is answered. More importantly, the explanation of the reasons why Bill came to this planet has helped him to further understand his life today. This session added greatly to his greater knowledge about himself and has encouraged him to continue to work hard to restore his consciousness back to a more awakened state. Right along with Bill and Peg as they tap into the densities and dimensions of God's many mansions.
Yeah, that's doing something.
Okay, let me see if it's moving.
Yeah, it is. Here's the seconds here.
Okay, here we go. This is April 28th, 2015. This is Peg Robbins with Bill Mitnick here, and we're going to do, we had a question about when maybe we have a history here, so Peg's going to access the Ones to see what they have to say. We have no idea what's going to happen here, so.
Right.
So just take a deep breath, and we've got some protection.
So they wanted, originally they were going way back to the beginning of time, and then they did, the next step was they were going to the beginning of your lifetime, this lifetime. So we might have to direct them to where do we want to go. So let me just get quiet. Yes. Okay, we're getting a little closer to the present. We're going to 1989. Still wanting to begin in the beginning of the world, so I'm just going to go with that. In the beginning of the world, okay. Yes, welcome. We were wanting to go to the beginning of the world, and in that beginning were upheavals. and scatterings and organizations grew out of that scattering. And many souls were watching at that time, watching, not participating, but watching, and making decisions. And those decisions had to do with whether or not they wanted to participate. And if you were comparing this to your current world, would say there was a certain amount of volunteering and plans were made around the volunteers and those who were sort of drafted. Not all were volunteers. Some were drafted to fill in missing categories. And not all were happy about that. Not all were entering your earth existence happily. And that created a lot of lack of cooperation. And that source of activity is still echoing in your current age. For those who volunteered, had some plans and some intentions, and you would find cooperation among them. But those who were rather drafted did not feel, not all of them felt willing. Some adjusted, and some found that their unwillingness, when brought into your earth plane, resulted in what you would call anger when in physical form. What you would call anger, and yet there were those who were living in cooperation, and that is your current understanding of those who play against each other in your current world. Do you understand?
Okay. You're telling the story. I get it so far, sure.
And what do you have come to remember from your own experiences through those many lifetimes, what you have come to remember is that you were drafted. It was not your own desire to be part of Earth plane. You understand that?
Yes.
Was not your desire. It was not for many lifetimes you were not willing to be part of those who were cooperating. You were rather what you have called a warrior, one battle after another, various kinds of battles, and then you tired of it. You were just tired of it. It was not enjoyable anymore. But you had created that pattern that you kept rebuilding. And so conflicts changed, but they continued. And you were on one side or the other side, and in your current lifetime, we are wanting now to be in your current lifetime, in the physical body that you now inhabit. And it rather all came to a point of total upset. And so you took the path of looking for ways to bury that sense of confusion and misdirection and not knowing what to do. And so you gave up. And you said, under your physical self, that spirit, gave up the fight, gave up the battle. You knew that you had been fighting long enough. And that is when you began your search. You said, I have a choice here. I can continue to fight more lifetimes, or I can make myself available to those who came in to cooperate. And then you began to search for them. And it was a very difficult search. For you were not acclimated to that vibrational level. And part of you was able to remember when you were all one and watching the beginning of Earth. And you were looking for those who you knew from that early time. We use that word loosely here, time. But you knew them. And when you began to look for them, you found how much they had changed and how much damage had been done to that original plane. And so you were lost. You were lost. But you found your way. You found your memory of that original beginning. You found your memory of what you have chosen to name Source. And as that memory was revisited, you began to find your way again. And so you continue to remind yourself. And that is why you are feeling that call, that pull to reconnect and reconnect and reconnect, for it's a long journey. It's a long journey. But you have remembered and can reconnect, you see. And you persevere and you pull yourself back into that. And still aware that some beings were volunteers. And you have seen the damage that some of them have suffered. And you long to return to that undamaged place. And so when we are able to join you in your reaching for that, we are able to assist you in rebinding yourself to that. Rebinding yourself. For that is what you are able to attain. You have gone a far distance or a far time. You understand now as time and place and somewhat trapped in matter, but not as trapped as you feel sometimes. For your spirit is not tied anymore to that original plan. The plan for your planet was clear, but was experimental. And even though you had many struggles in many lifetimes, you were never released. You were never let go of. You were never abandoned. Only a little bit lost. You were not disconnected. You were not ejected. You have stretched your ties, but they are not broken. They are not broken. You are still connected and are able to clear your mind, you see. You are able to remember. And that is what you are seeking when you are seeking Source. You are remembering, reconnecting. You understand?
Okay, reconnecting before this whole drama beginning?
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
For the connection was not broken, you see.
Okay.
Was not broken. You felt disconnected.
Because of the illusion of separation, is that correct?
Yes, and because you were sent rather than volunteering.
I see, okay.
You were sent. And sometimes you are able to be willing, you see, to serve. But you were not always willing.
Do you think I was sent out of the wisdom for my own good?
Those who were sent to fill in certain gaps. There was a plan, you see.
Yes, okay.
Like a puzzle with missing pieces, and those pieces had to be filled.
Okay, it wasn't necessarily for my highest eternal good then.
It was for the good of the whole.
Okay, that makes sense, okay.
It was for the good of the whole. Those roles need to be filled. And so you were sent to serve in those roles. But the plan was distorted. It became distorted.
Was it distorted by me?
It was not distorted by you. You were a player in the plan.
Okay.
You were not the constructor of the plan. It was constructed at a different level. And that construct is what became damaged. And you seek to understand that, you see. You seek to understand that in your present existence. But is beyond what that it needs to be understood at a different level of existence, you see. And you are reaching for that. You are reaching for that. For you have that memory. You remember the plan. You were familiar with the plan before it was executed. It was not your plan, but you had familiarity with the plan. And so you remember. It's memory. It's memory that draws you. But you had all this activity in between since that time. And all that activity has become part of your memories of reality and dimension, physical world, and your what you call your past lives interferes, you see, with your memory of what you were connected with before all of that happened.
Okay, I get it.
It is all sort of static, you see, in your connection. It has become static, noisy, interferes with your desire to reconnect. And so important that you put it into context. You were sent to fill in gaps in the picture, you see, in the puzzle. And you did your best to accomplish that. And was not always what you would choose if you were choosing now. But you lived it and you did your best in each of those roles. And now you are feeling that call to return. For your term of service to that cause is nearing an end.
That makes sense.
Is nearing an end. Not only you see, but the plan. The whole plan.
Was this plan called, in some cases, the Great Experiment?
It was an experiment, yes. It was an experiment. And was thought to be well planned. And there are possibilities for a new experiment. But requires some total reorganization, you see. Total reorganization. Cannot be just repaired, but must be redone. And so you are in that time of ending. And the end is not yet appearing, but you are finding your way back with your remembering. And that is what you are doing when you are putting yourself in that state where you are wanting to connect with Source, what you call Source. You are remembering. And you find peace there.
I'm trying to find my people, you know. I think that's
Yes.
what I'm trying to do.
Yes. But some of them have changed, you see.
Sure.
For there have been many, many adventures.
But I know I will recognize them when I meet them.
Yes.
And I think they are wanting to meet me too.
Yes. All will gather, you see. All will gather together. For none have been lost. None of them have been lost.
Do you have any more on that subject?
It's enough for now.
Is there anything about initially this was when did I meet Peg? When did Peg and I meet? But maybe that's a subject for another time or something. I didn't know if that had anything to do with these dramas.
That was long ago. And it was a plan very early. There was a disconnect at the beginning when this one soul volunteered. But you did not want to volunteer.
Oh, way back then. Wow, that's a long time ago.
And so paths have crossed. But was not possible to reconnect until your direction changed and you developed that desire to return, you see, and reconnect with those memories. And so paths have crossed, but not lifetimes together. only the memory of so long ago when your world began.
Hmm.
And so you meet again and have that journey ahead. And so are able to remember together, you see.
Oh, I see. That's it's sort of a rejoining of in our acquaintance, I guess, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
on the journey home.
Yeah. I hope I didn't keep you too long. I don't want you to tire.
We do not tire, but we will bid you farewell.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we'll
The best to you guys, too.
leave our blessings with you.
The wind is really picking up here. Some cold air is starting to come in.